Subscription services found their way into the world of gaming, with Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox all offering up their spin on the platform. Today we wanted to sit down to discuss the sheer existence of these services, and if they're good for the gaming industry or not. Now, why are we doing this? Well, that's because this is a hot topic. What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but we are back for yet another episode of Game Sandwich Hot Topic. And in case you didn't see, we have a new face to the show. Why don't you say what's up?
Hello, Dorian here. You may have seen me in some videos. Co-founded the site with everyone else, basically. And been here, done that. Finally got a chance to do a hot topic. Super excited to join Kalo. He's a wonderful addition to the team, and I'm here to talk hot topic.
You're gonna make me blush. Now, I think your appearance on Hot Topic, just a little peek behind the curtain, I experienced my first earthquake this morning. Maybe that's a sign that, like, your first appearance, this is literally groundbreaking news here on Game Sandwich's YouTube channel.
Earth-shattering, shaking news.
The whole deal. So today's subject matter is one that it's more of a newer type of thing within gaming, and that is the fact, are subscription services within gaming good or not? Now, I did my research, and when looking at all across the board, PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, the naming of each tier of each service makes my head spin. So at any point, if you can step in, maybe fix where I went off the path here, I'm going to list off all of the services, the price points, because I think that's a big part of this, and then we'll take the conversation from there. So up first, PlayStation Plus has 3 tiers. This is where things started to get weird.
3? Hold on. I'll just preface. I'm not a PlayStation. Like, PS2 was the last one I really played. So hearing 3 is just mind-boggling.
I'm right there with you. Also, preface, I mean, people kind of get this by now. I'm a big Xbox guy. Game Pass is my jam. Shout out Phil Spencer. But, you know, we have different tiers here. So up first, PlayStation Plus Essential, which is $10 a month, $80 a year. I figured it's good to kind of give the whole year in perspective.
For sure.
Next up, PlayStation Extra, which is $15 a month, $135 a year. This is also all US. I couldn't do conversions outside of this. That'll make my mind rot even more.
Another earthquake might happen.
Probably. Who knows? Maybe we get an aftershock live on the show, and that's extra content for you guys.
There we go, yeah.
So the final tier for PlayStation Plus is PlayStation Plus Premium at $18 a month, $160 a year. Now that gets rid of PlayStation. Up next, NSO, lovely Nintendo Switch Online. An individual plan costs $3.99 a month, $20 a year. Relatively cheap. Now we got NSO Plus Expansion Pack, which gets you all of the retro games, all these extra bells and whistles at $50 a year. Again, relatively cheap. I got thoughts on the service, but I'll save that for later. Now,
the same thoughts, but
I'm thinking that's the case. But now we got Xbox Game Pass. Both console and PC by themselves, $9.99 a month. Not a bad deal. Or you can get Ultimate, which kind of encapsulates everything, both console and PC, $16.99 a month. Which is, full disclosure, the one I have. I think that's the best deal.
I'll agree with you. It's the one I have, so Xbox fan all the way. I mean, so I've used it for, years. I've probably got rid of it once or twice throughout the lifetime, but I'm like, no, I always come back to it.
So, for the case of starting things off, I'm going to start with a negative, and then I'll give you the positive if you would like to take that side up. You know, I like to be fair here. For every good service like Game Pass, there is an NSO. And I'm talking about companies that offer up these services, and it doesn't fit today's gaming world. I'm talking about how NSO is very flawed in the way they do things. You have to talk through an app on your phone. The games they offer up are very limited. To my knowledge, you're just paying a premium for older games. And with Nintendo specifically, that's kind of a weird slope to go down because GameCube games on the resale market cost absorbent amounts of money for whatever reason. I just want Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. I squeezed that bit into this video. Got to get that in. But yeah, NSO is very flawed. They're offering it up, again, at a cheaper price. But I expect when you pay for a service, just make it work, if it's that simple.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as someone who has done NSO, when Animal Crossing first came out, like 2020, right? The only reason I was like, I gotta check this out was because I wanted to get clothes and items and things that people have made. Because I'm a decent artist, but I'm not that good on the Nintendo Switch, right, for the Animal Crossing. So that kind of was my foray into the NSO side of things. And again, only for Animal Crossing. However, it wasn't till, gosh, was it last year? Earlier this year? When Golden Sun came out on the Game Boy Advance. My easily top 5 game of all time. Mm-hmm. And as you said, the Game Boy games and gosh, I'm blanking on Nintendo GameCube and everything like that. They're expensive today, right? You go out, you find them. You're only lucky if you actually still own them. I got rid of all my old systems. Unfortunately, when we moved countless times. It's sad, but the positive side of the NSO Plus and that $50 subscription is you get probably, think about it, all the games you've played growing up, or the ones you've got rid of, or the ones you're like, I never got a chance to play that, but now it's available for me to play. And you don't have to go out and buy it for 70, 80, 100 plus bucks. You pay that $150 fee for the year, and you have access to, I don't know how many games, I'm going to say hundreds plus of games at your fingertips, no matter what. And you could just easily go, okay, I'm going to play some Golden Sun now, and I'm going to play some Fire Emblem, or what did they just release? F-Zero. That was the newest one that just came out. So I could see the benefits of someone who's like, yes, I have this guilty pleasure, I have this nostalgia wanting to go back to play all these old games that I don't have access to anymore. And not only, but you get to play them on your handheld Switch, and you could take it literally anywhere. That might be the top boon of the Switch, GBA, and GameCube backwards compatibility and all that. Because I sat there on the couch or in bed, and I'm like, I'm going to boot up Golden Sun, because I used to only be able to play this from my little Game Boy screen, you know, this big or whatever. But now I could put it on either my Switch Lite or boot it up to my full-on Switch HD OLED on my TV and be like, I've never experienced gaming like this before. And I think that is the draw to it, right?
Yeah.
So that's just, I'm literally just thinking about Golden Sun, and that's all I want to do right now. After this video, I'm just going to go play some Golden Sun. Because I've wanted to play it for years, and Nintendo finally did it. That's where Nintendo, I think, shines the best. Mm-hmm. Is they know what fans like, and they know they're going to pay for it. And they know that's how they're going to get them, so.
It's been boiling ever since you brought up Golden Sun. Yes, they offer up those games, but for every one of those games, where on earth are all the old Pokemon games? I see, like, and this applies to any, like, Game Pass or PlayStation. You're paying for the service, and odds are it comes with a library of games. Each of these companies can hold those games. I know for a fact Nintendo, in their big office somewhere, has this little switch, no pun intended, where they flip it, and it's like, all the old Pokemon games are now on NSO. And you and I both know, and you just said it so well yourself, I'm going to be a sucker and pay for it every single time. Because, again, I played these games as a kid. I still have all of my old copies. But, again, like you said, playing it on the Switch, playing it on my big TV, it's one of those things. And that's why I think it's a double-edged sword. because they're holding these games back, knowing if there's a downtime or, hey, we don't have a big game coming out, let's just drop the older ones and this will hold us over until the next one. That's also why I'm kind of down on subscription services. It's so weird because I am a big proponent for Game Pass, but that one idea that lurks in the back of my mind, like, hey, we haven't gotten Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness or Coliseum. Pokemon Day just came and went. Don't you think, like, there isn't a big Pokemon game coming out? Even if, like, people don't necessarily play it, here it is on NSO for whatever price. You can do a whole other expansion pack for all I care. But yeah, like, gating these games off that they know they could, one, re-release as a full release in a physical matter, or just on NSO, Game Pass, PlayStation Plus. It's kind of why I'm against it a little bit.
So I'm going to ask a follow-up question. Sticking with the subscription, do you think Nintendo is thinking, as you said, we'll hold on to Coliseum, we'll hold on to these retro Nintendo games, and put them on NSO when we have an empty space? Or do you think they get better bang for their buck if they just release them as standard games that you pay a one-time fee for?
It's so tough. It is so tough. I think we did a Game Bite about this a few weeks ago. Shameless plug. It's going to be up there in the cards. Go check it out. I'm in this mindset, at least I want to remain positive. The Switch 2 is going to be this hallmark refresh of NSO. They're going to revamp the whole thing, fix all the problems, and to incentivize people to come to the service yet again on their brand new console, or if you're like me and haven't paid a dime for it at all, hey, Switch 2, here are the Pokemon games. Here's this, here's that, the things you really want. Your GameCube games? NSO expansion pack on the Switch 2. It's those things, but again, it's Nintendo. They're gonna get me with Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. I am getting that physical copy, whether they like it or not. It's always 50-50 with them, and more often than not, Nintendo's business practices and all that, they're gonna squeeze that lemon dry and get all the money they can. So I'm gonna gravitate in the case of just Pokemon. That's NSO. But potentially a Coliseum XD Gale of Darkness bundle pack on a single cartridge, like a 3D Mario All-Stars, that I can see.
I can see that, yeah. I don't know. I agree. I think they will put all their old Nintendo Pokemon stuff on NSO Plus. However, I'll be that guy and say, I don't know if it's going to draw me to do it. Pokemon's great. I do. If correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't been following. Red and blue are ever added, I'm sold. Or yellow. If they put yellow up, fine. They got the guy. That's it. And Coliseum. I'm a Coliseum stan, so.
Let's go. I always get flack for that. Everyone says it's a bad game, but, finally.
Absolutely. Now, all right, here. If they put Coliseum on NSO Plus, or whatever they put it, you and I will play it. We'll do a Let's Play together.
Sign me up. Day one. Dude, I'll pay twice for it. Nintendo, listen to me.
Wait a minute.
I'm down horrendous for this game because I have the GameCube that has the skin on it, and I look at it constantly, but I don't have the game because, like what you were saying, GameStop offered me, 50 cents for it, and I had to sell it to get the Wii. So, give and trade there.
It's interesting to see. So, you've never purchased the NSO Plus. That's what I believe is what you said.
The service in general and the fact that it's so flawed is the reason that kept me away. Game Pass, on the other hand, and this is where I look at a positive, you add value. Value is key when talking about subscription services, whether that be video, whether that be gaming. I look at the library of games they have. I'm a big Bethesda stan. Love Bethesda games. Any and all of them that come out. Redfall, different story. But you talk about Activision Blizzard games. You talk about Bethesda. You talk about ZeniMax, all that fun stuff. I can go on. Toys for Bob, blah, blah, blah. $9.99 a month, or whatever. I think I said $16.99 for Ultimate. I get games on my PC. You factor in crossplay. You factor in, yeah, like live or gold or whatever they're calling it nowadays. Different story, you know, but at least they have the party chat. They have Discord on their consoles. I just see if you're gonna buy a service, again, this is all relative to what games you play, obviously, but if you're gonna offer up a service, there's gotta be value. There's gotta be something that people say, hey, I can't get this anywhere else, and this is a great reason to invest in said platform.
As someone, and we'll switch it over to Xbox if you don't mind, since we
Yeah.
segued there. I will say the only reason I have Xbox Game Pass, take this what you will, is for Elder Scrolls Online. Literally it. So again, I'm a ZeniMax. I'm Bethesda all the way, but Elder Scrolls is my jam. And I've shut
Interesting.
it down twice, I would say, probably in the time span I've had this game. I've had this game since it released in 2014. Uh, 10 years now for 2024. I love this game. But here's the other side. I have it for PC, where I don't have to pay to play it on my PC. But the draw of the Xbox is you get more value there, I believe, is what you said. My PC is not in the most comfortable spot. I've got a nice chair and everything, but I got an ESO on my couch where the Xbox is. I'm going to pay that extra 15, 16 bucks for comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm 3 to 5 hours a day sitting there. Oh man, ESO, level up my character. Easy peasy, right? And I bought it twice. Again, I'm like, well, I can easily go over play on my PC. Nah. It looks better on my Xbox anyway, so why not?
Exactly. You got to take full advantage of all the teraflops and stuff in your Series X or the Series S, whatever you're playing off of. Now, I have a counter, kind of, sort of, to this all. Companies control the pricing of their services. They can boost the numbers, they can lower the numbers. There was a deal for Game Pass, dollar for, I think, the year or a month or whatever. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But they also control the influx of games that are available. Like if I'm invested in playing, let's just say, Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm playing it, having a grand old time, Red Dead Online, that whole thing. And then one day I get a notification, hey, this is leaving Game Pass, you know, in the next few months. It's like, yeah, the easy way out, obviously, I can pay and just buy the game, and sure, you know, that's the fix, obviously. At the same time, too, I'm paying for Game Pass. It's on the service. I don't think it is, but as an example, if they take that away, all of the time I invested, all of the hours played, it's like you're just yanking the carpet out from underneath me. And that's the thing, too, people got to understand when you subscribe to these services. Games could be here one day, gone the next. You know, it's very tough to operate in that, like, that whole fashion. But, yeah, and there's games, obviously, that people play that are very niche, and they can take those away, too. Like, I don't know, what's a random... I remember...
Three.
Yeah, like, I can play... You had a better reference, but I had this Xbox arcade game called The Maw, I think it was. I played it
Okay.
a long time ago. It's like, yeah, I love playing The Maw, but then it's gone from Game Pass, so there goes a game I own. That's like
Yep.
the one gripe I have for like all these services.
But the draw of a service, right? Like, for instance, you say they give you a game, they take it away, you know, give and take. Is they're hoping that you put so much hours and time and effort of your life in it that when they yank it away, you go pay for it.
Mm,
That's what they want. But again, and correct me if I'm not understanding of, you know, where the money goes for everything, right? And what developer gets what for putting in Game Pass. But if Microsoft yanks that game away, they lose the money on whoever, you know, plays it. But then the developer's hope is you go buy it. But I'd love to see a percentage chart of how often that happens.
mm.
Because are you hoping, hey, we'll put it back on later? Or, as you said, I played them all, I'm done with it. You know, I don't know if I'm going to go buy it again. Like, if they took ESO off Xbox, they're never going to do that, because why? I'd be like, I'm done with your service, basically. Why do I need it anymore? That's just one instance, one game for me. Like, Diablo 4 just got put up. I played it for 2 or 3 hours. I said, you know, It's Diablo. I love the third one. The fourth one was okay. Personal opinion. I like it. It's a bit gory for me, but that's just me. And I said 2 hours to Game Pass. I'm pass. I'm all right. And then so I'm not going to go give Blizzard my money to actually buy it because it didn't really stick with me. But again, there are games out there that I can see gamers going to Game Pass and being like, "Great, Diablo's here. That's the only way I'm going to play it." Instead of paying $70 for it, they can pay $16 a month to play it for however long Blizzard wants to keep it there.
I think, and I could be completely wrong, my track record goes I've never played a game on Game Pass and then bought it like straight up afterwards. At least to my knowledge. There might be a few overlapping games, like the big games like a Fallout 4 or something big like that. But if we're talking about like a Hi-Fi Rush, if we're talking about Pentiment, something like that, Grounded, I wouldn't buy those games, which leads me into a positive, and then I want to kind of shift to a negative here. Game Pass offers, and all of these services, I'm going to say, they offer up a big library of games. This opens the door for me to, like, as a user, one Friday, I got nothing going on. Let me check Game Pass real quick. Oh, Hi-Fi Rush just dropped. Let me hop into it. It's not my game. I don't really play games like that, but it's on Game Pass, and I'm going to air quotes this. It's free. I'm going to try and play this game. I know you pay for the subscription, but when looking at the big picture, it's not a loss if I didn't like the game. You know, I can kind of just uninstall it, move on, and go back to playing Halo Infinite or whatever. At the same breath, too, gaming services, whether you talk about NSO, PlayStation Plus, are they offering too much? How many times am I going through Game Pass and I see 40,000 different titles and I'm like, ooh, that looks great to play. Am I ever going to truly play it? Probably not. But that's just also gaming backlogs, and I'm just horrible at completing games.
We all have a backlog. I mean, that's the thing. That's what they're hoping for too with these subscription services. Is you go check you got backlogs, but hey, here's this latest new thing, Hi-Fi Rush. Everyone loved it when it came out. I didn't get a chance to play it, unfortunately, but everyone was like, "This is legit great." And then I think everyone started to fall off. I don't know if it's still on Game Pass.
Yeah, I think it is.
Wrong.
I think it
So,
is.
That might be where the bread and butter of Hi-Fi Rush is. It's on Game Pass. Check it out. And then when they put out their next game, then people are going to be like, "I liked Hi-Fi Rush." Now, they may not put that next game on Game Pass, but you've liked it enough that their hope, again, is to draw you to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I could see. I mean, positives and negatives to both sides, right?
No, I was going to say, like, I think when it comes to, and we're going to go back to Xbox here, day and date games. You know, PlayStation does this staggered thing with the PC, blah, blah, blah. But Xbox has been tried and true. If the new Halo drops, you get it on Game Pass. You know, it's one of those things that I appreciate so much because now that I download all my games normally, I can just go the night before or whatever, save myself the agonizing wait for my internet speeds to download the 120 gig file for Halo, or God forbid it's a Call of Duty. You know, it's those things that I appreciate on day one. Like, I can get the game. Does it take away from the nostalgia of going to GameStop and getting the game sitting there like, whoa, Halo 3? Like, I remember getting that game, picking it up, and just obviously just popping it in and playing it. But times have changed. But day and date games, that is the thing I enjoy about a service like that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you see these games, I mean, Xbox said, what, every game they release is now going to be day and date? So what's the next big thing coming up? Say, well, so this is probably a bad example, Elder Scrolls 6, right? Day and day. Whenever that game comes out, right? Drops on whatever Microsoft console is there. People are going to be like, "I want to play this." And they can. Easy. Yes, you only have to wait for it to download, which is going to be gigantic. But no matter what game, right? That's the draw. And I'm trying to think of a negative side of this. And if I can think of one, I will let you know. Because I don't know if there really is a negative side to day and date gaming. The only thing I could say is if the game's not ready and they push it back, but can they stop a physical release as opposed to a digital release? Because if they stop, they can stop a digital, but it's going to be physical no matter what. Like they can't be like, "Oh, it's selling it. We've already shipped it." But digital is that crazy side of it. If it's day and date digital release, which is probably the future of gaming, and a whole other hot topic, and gameplay and everything else we could talk about. Again, it's the day and date. I don't know if they can. I don't know. It's interesting to think of a negative, and it's
the next big game I think is Hellblade 2 on the 28th. I think that is the next big Xbox game, and people are having problems with the 30 FPS stuff, and that's a whole other deal in gaming. But I think the overall benefit, and it's hard to come up with negatives because your subscription service that you go to is dependent on you. Like, it depends on the gamer behind the controller, behind the keyboard. What I view as value, you might not, and it's all different. But I like how these services give games a chance, like a Hellblade 2, or not even Hellblade 2. I was going to say Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, Pentiment. Smaller games that, personally, I don't think would have thrived as much as they did if they weren't on Game Pass. Like, if Grounded just came out, how many people are going to give that a shot? Like, honestly, for that. And then Pentiment, too. That is one of the games I think is the prime example of launching a game on Game Pass helps in the long run, because more eyes are on it, and for every person that's like, I'm not into this game, but I'm going to try it, hey, that's a download on their books. They'll take that every day of the week.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good example for all three of those games. Backed by Obsidian.
Mm-hmm.
A very large name in the world of gaming, right? Everyone knows, I mean, whether you started with Pillars of Eternity or even before that with their RPGs they released, and now they're at Grounded and Pentiment, which people adore Pentiment. It's never seen any bad press from my end, and everything I've seen of it is just phenomenal. And you can go in Game Pass, download it immediately, play it for however long you like, and then you're like, hey, I can get down with Obsidian. What's their next big draw? Whether they... I mean, it's going to be on Game Pass no matter what, but whether you download it and try it for an hour, or if you download it and you're like, great, I'm going to get this game and play it for thousands upon thousands of hours because I love it.
I'm hoping it's a New Vegas 2 or a remaster.
Ooh.
Just putting
Stop
it out there. I know there's some people on the site that want to see this too. So just hear me out, because somehow, some way, everything outside of my hype for Jak and Daxter and Donkey Kong 64 has been heard. Those two things have been thrown to the side. Apparently no one wants that. So I'm looking at the landscape of all the prices and all this stuff. I know we're both Game Pass people. So I guess the bigger question here, looking at the other two services, is there anything you would change about them? I mean, grant you, we can make a whole other episode on talking about NSO, but is there anything you would like to see come to other services like PlayStation Plus or anything like that?
PlayStation Plus. I'm trying to think back to my glory days with PlayStation, right? And you can correct me, or chat can correct me, but I spent hours upon hours in SOCOM. And I think that was... I don't remember if you had to pay a subscription fee back then. It was so long ago for me personally. But nowadays, I don't know. I think I would like to see... I mean, I think personally PlayStation's 3 tiers is a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see what you get for each one. Like, what are the benefits of that middle tier as opposed to the first tier, as opposed to the last tier? And we can look it up easily right now and see. But again, if you compare it to... How much was the middle tier for PlayStation?
Plus Extra, which is the middle tier, $15 a month, $135 a year.
$135 a year. So comparable to Xbox, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming the majority of PlayStation owners will go to the middle tier. But then again, I don't know. I'm not a PlayStation user. Again, I'm gonna look up PlayStation.
The differences between the two tiers are all three. It's like one offers up, you get a certain amount of games and trials, you get this, you get that. It's very minute differences, and I think the only bigger jump here is from Essential to Premium. I think as Extra and Essential sound pretty much the same outside of like one extra or like one little added benefit.
Yeah, I mean, Premium, you get cloud trial, streaming, a whole backlog of classics catalog, plus Extra, all the benefits. PlayStation Plus Essential plan, access to the game catalog, hundreds of games to download and explore, and then Essential, online multiplayer matches, new games to your collection every month. Oh, so that's the one where you get PlayStation says this is the games you're going to get this month, and then after that you get new games. Then after that, so I could see the benefit of Essential. If I were to honestly choose the one, I think I would go with Essential, just to try it out, right? Test the waters.
And that's the thing for people within the gaming world. It's tough, like whenever we do stuff for the website or the YouTube channel, you know, we gotta, like, whenever it comes to like subscription services, we really have to pick and choose because yeah, we got Game Pass, but then if something comes on PlayStation Plus, you gotta get that service, you gotta get NSO. And for every one of us, there's also people who can just afford the one out of the three. And it's tough to really, especially nowadays, to like lock yourself into one choice. Because during that month, let's just say PlayStation Plus, that's the one you go to. You like the games they dropped. Next month, you might not like the games, and it's like, what are you really paying for there, and what do you really want to do there? Game Pass has this. NSO is dropping Pokemon. You're kind of like bouncing around. Again, it's just like owning Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, whatever have you. It's the same deal. I mean, we're both wrestling fans. How many times you got to pay for the network back in the day? Now they're on Peacock, and there's a whole other thing there. So it's tough. You really got to pick and choose.
Yeah, and then it comes down to, as you were talking about, okay, you don't like the games that are coming out on Sony's Essential next month, so you maybe drop it for that month. But if you drop it, you can't play online with your friends anymore. So if you're still playing Hellblade or whatever it is online, that is the draw. That's what they're hoping you stay with. The same for Xbox Game Pass, right? You can still play with your friends if you have the first plan as opposed to the second plan. Both have online. But NSO Plus, I'm not too familiar. I think you have to play. You pay for the general one. You can play online with everybody. But the Plus is what gets you all the extra games. And I'm going to go back to Nintendo. I think it's too expensive, personally. It's only a one-time fee for the year. I get that. But I just don't know. I've looked at it and I'm like, I don't know if it's worth it for me to play 1 or 2 or 3 games for $50. But then again, on the flip side, I could see both. You pay $50 for one game and you have it forever.
Yeah.
So, I think NSO Plus is a little too pricey. But again, I could see why. And again, having done it, kind of a moot point. So,
I'm looking at it and it's like, if NSO refined the experience and made it more of a modern feel and gave you, like, let's just say the next 3D Mario or one of the Switch 2 launch titles, day and date, I'm paying that $50 a year for the NSO expansion pack, whatever. Count me in. Like, I just view it as, it's kind of like when you buy a car. You want to make sure it has all the features you want, you're comfortable in it, because odds are you're going to be spending a lot of time there. And it's like, hey, I'm okay if they charge me a premium and have the experience on the back end nailed down, whatever. If I'm going to sit here and play on my Switch and I have to, like, talk in my phone to my friends or whatever, or if I'm on Discord or whatever, it's like, you're doing the work for them. You're paying to just kind of exist, and you're doing all the legwork.
Yeah. I don't believe Nintendo will do day and date.
I know. That's the one thing that gets me.
They won't ever do it. They know the audience. They know what their fans are going to pay for. And it's worked for them for years. So why change it?
That's
Xbox and Sony, yes.
It's weird with them. Xbox admitted they lost and they're very far behind. PlayStation has the numbers to back their console sales, everything else. Nintendo, hey, they could be in the lead. They can care less. They're just going to say, hey, you're going to pay for Super Mario Galaxy 2 HD version. You're going to pay for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD remaster. And it never happens with any of the other companies. But Nintendo, we just sit here and say, you darn right. You darn right I'm going to do it.
We're the ATM machines for Nintendo, just spitting out money just to give them, because they know it works. Why bother changing it?
It's my kryptonite in gaming, because, like, I wish I could say no. But I remember going to get 3D Mario All-Stars, and it's 64, it's Galaxy, and Mario Sunshine, my favorite Mario game. I know that's controversial, but I was like, why am I spending money on this? Like, it's not... It's I don't know why, but here I am. I was playing it the other day, so they got me. Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask a question. Throwing out Xbox fan stand. If you were a brand new gamer coming into this, NSO Plus, Game Pass, or Sony's 3 tiers, which is more appealing to you?
On paper, and this is the reason why I'm on Game Pass, this also depends if I strictly own a console or if I own a PC and a console. But in my case, I have a PC, I have a console. Game Pass, it'd be just for the fact you have your library on PC, you have it on Xbox, you can do the cloud stuff on your phone, laptop. I know that experience is kind of iffy at times, but if I'm just looking at buzzwords and like things that stick out, seeing, all right, I'm paying $16.99 a month, but I'm getting games on 2 platforms. Like, strictly, that's like a buy one, get one free deal in my head. So, I'm gonna have to go with Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah.
How about you?
On paper, I can agree with you on paper. I think it looks the best. It's laid out the best. It doesn't have... I don't know. When I see 3 tiers at something, I'm like, well, I don't really want to think about that. I just want what gets me the games that I want to play, what gets me online access so I can play with my friends. That's it. It's
tough. And I was even looking to prep for this episode, looking at the 3 different tiers and the charts they have set up. It's like my mind was going all over the place. It's like, just tell me the basics. I don't need comparisons. Like, why am I paying this much for this? All right. And then just a little blurb at the top. You get everything you get from the previous tiers if you pay for the premium, whatever. NSO, I look at the service and I'm like... I also look at Nintendo, and my first thought that pops into my mind, I don't think of multiplayer, like, at all. Like, I think of... It's so weird where it's like, yes, they have Mario Kart Online, you could play Smash Online, but that's not the first thing that comes to my mind. I think of single player, I'm going to play this by myself, or if I'm thinking about playing with friends, I'm going to get them all together and play on, like, a couch co-op, whatever have you.
LAN, whatever, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's so weird. They're such an anomaly in the gaming world. It's like, how do they do it?
But it works. Doesn't matter what they do. I don't understand Nintendo. They are so... I just finished Reggie Fils-Aimé's book, From the Bronx to the Top of Nintendo. And it really gave this deep dive into how Nintendo works and how he changed Nintendo to be what they are today. And no matter what, before, during, and after he left, Nintendo has somehow remained the same, but been different.
Oh, yeah.
If that makes a lot of sense.
It does completely. Like, I just look at the business they're doing now, and I'm like, all right, I look at the Switch. It's been out for so long, yet it's like that Step Brothers meme. It's like, I thought you were dead, but like, no, I'm still alive. The Switch it's just here. Like, it's just existing, and it sells. The pandemic gave it the boost it needed to get people. Like, Animal Crossing was the big thing during the pandemic. And it's like, normally for an Xbox or a PlayStation console, if you're that far in to the generation for that console, it would be a ghost town. Like, everyone would be at the headquarters with their pitchforks. Give us the console tomorrow. Like, we need it. Nintendo, they're just sitting there like, hey, we're here. Switch 2 is next year. You thought you were getting it this year, allegedly, but no, you gotta wait another year.
Curious to see if they continue with the NSO Plus, or if they add something new, or in general, or it's the Switch 2 comes loaded. Like, what if, this is a whole other conversation, what if the Switch 2, as you said, is SNES, GameCube, Game Boy, everything, but you pay like hundreds more dollars to get all of that up front?
I'm remaining positive and saying that's going to be the transformative moment for NSO. I'm really rooting for it. I really am. It might not seem like it, but I am.
Yeah.
That's going to be the moment.
You get Pokemon on there and you're sold.
Right there. Like, they can hold a direct in September and be like, hey, Switch 2, and then we got one more thing, and they snap their fingers. Boom, give me all the colors on the screen. Done. I don't even need to see the price. I'm there, day one.
Again, yep. Nintendo knows what they're doing. But that's Sony and Microsoft. I think they do, but I think they're figuring it out.
I couldn't have honestly said it better myself. I think there are moves both companies are making to kind of even out the storm they're in right now. Xbox has to deal with their things that they messed up. PlayStation has to do the same thing. Jim Ryan's no longer at the head of PlayStation. They're in a weird state too. So I think moving forward, especially going into the next generation, I can't believe I'm saying that right now, which it's definitely like 6 years away. So we can relax for a little bit. Or who knows? It might be sooner than we thought. But yeah,
I don't think it's next year for them.
Yeah, it's so weird, but they got a lot to figure out and iron out. I think that goes for all three companies. And, gaming as a whole changes almost month to month. That's just how the life works here.
I'm excited to see where it's going. I am eager to see what shifts and changes with subscription services, because they're always changing. Outside of gaming, Netflix has changed a dozen times on what they offer, everything else, and there's always a new subscription service popping up. So will either company change the way it's working, reduce prices, increase prices, or add a fourth tier to Sony, or a third tier to Xbox and Microsoft? Who knows?
We just need 2 tiers. 2 tiers.
I think so.
Give me a basic and a premium, and then you can list whatever you want. Take out literally the middleman, and we'll just take things from there. But I think this is my favorite part of the episode, unless you have some closing remarks.
I'm good to, yeah.
All right, so we're going to pass it off to you guys, the viewers. What do you think of subscription services? Is there a place for them in gaming, or is there not? What are some of the things, if you're subscribed to any of the 3 mentioned today, or if there's a random one out there, let us know your thoughts on it. Are you enjoying it? Are you not? What would you like to change here? But with all that being said, too, again, I'm channeling my inner Billy Mays here. There's more conversations to be had in our Discord channel, which will be linked down below. We're always chatting it up about all things gaming there. And with all that being said, Dorian, I'm going to pass it off to you to sign us off here.
Oh, a sign off. Excellent. Thanks for watching the episode. Thanks for hanging out with us on YouTube and at the Discord. We truly appreciate all your support. We are working on some fantastic things for the future. This episode, I was an absolute pleasure to hang out with you, Kalo.
Thank you.
Again, no second earthquake, no aftershock, but it was very wonderful to talk about, and I think I learned a lot. I learned a lot about you, learned a lot about subscription things. Again, everyone, thank you for supporting Game Sandwich. We truly, truly appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
All right, we'll see ya. If you enjoyed today's debate or want your weekly dose of gaming news content, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for content just like this. And we'll see you guys next time.